This is the Dull Man's Podcast, the podcast for dull men
and women
who get excited about dull things.
I'm Demitris Deech, a stand-up comedian who will share his love of dullness with anyone who is prepared to listen.
And I'm Faye, and I really don't know what I'm doing here. I'm a broadcaster, podcaster, I marry people, I paint dogs. What else do I do, Dave? The whole thing,
I don't know. As far as I know, you've only married one person.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I really dislike boring conversations and dull conversations.
Good. Well, you're the ideal contributor then.
Fantastic.
And I'm Dave Harries. I'm supposed to be the producer of this, so arguably responsible for it. But it was Deech's idea, so I'm not going to take any of that responsibility. I like Faye. I'm from the world of broadcasting and things like that.
You're here to giggle, Dave. You're here to giggle at any mirth that Faye or myself produce.
Oh, right. So I'm the sort of
we're just struggling
laughter.
to shut you up, basically. This has been the problem. You've brought a third microphone with you.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that, was
No.
I? Oh, well. That's the great thing about being in charge of the microphones. I get to choose how many there are.
Yeah, you're in charge of the knobs and dials. I will say this at this point. A recent episode we were speaking about wheelie bins.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
I have been embroiled in a wheelie bin based dispute with one of the listeners. The problem is that listener is my wife, which, as you can imagine, has made things very serious in our household because the listener is my wife and the wheelie bins are ours.
So the stakes are high.
The stakes are high. The wheelie bins are high. I sent a picture over to you two with what to me seemed like my dream setup of wheelie bins.
Yeah, height-ordered,
They were
colour-coded.
They were height-ordered.
Fantastic.
They were colour-coded. The difference in height was also uniform, wasn't it? They weren't staggered. They weren't I don't like castellated wheelie bins. The distance between them was equal. They were beautiful. It was a thing. Like, Banksy could have set them up, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, this is the thing. So she was listening to this, and then she said she told me that she didn't like the way I put our wheelie bins out.
Oh, she told you that as a result of listening to the podcast?
Yeah. So there I am, smug, that I'm thinking I've nailed the wheelie bin concept, but she doesn't like the way they face.
Oh, okay.
Right. So... And what made it even more difficult, this was on the back of something else she'd pointed out from the same episode where I had asked you both to say which one of these facts is correct. Remember we were talking about the lunar landing?
Yes.
And I said, which one of these facts is correct? She instantly said, well, there isn't 3 facts, it's 3 comments.
Oh, because
she is absolutely.
She's on it, isn't she?
She is nailing the dull man at being dull.
Is this what it's like being married to her?
It is. Yeah. Well, her job is sort of. I don't know. She works in communications or something.
I don't know.
I've never.
She told me once.
Yeah, that's right. So. Yeah, she's a copywriter or something. So she picks out her professional life is picking out mistakes.
Yeah.
She is a pedant. And so I'm already on the back foot because I had to agree with her. I was like, you are correct. It is one of these 3 comments. I had to concede that. The podcast had already gone out. There's nothing I could do about it. I'm feeling glum for that. Then she attacks me with a wheelie bin thing. So I'm already on the back foot. I'm already struggling here. It's like a boxer which has already been winded. How do I come back on this? So anyway, her gripe. But let me ask you, right? You put your wheelie bins out. Imagine they're next to a fence. That's quite common. You rarely put your wheelie bins in the middle of something. They're not surrounded by something. It's next to a fence or a brick wall. Which way do you put the handle? Does it open onto the fence or wall? Or does it open outwards onto the user? So the hinge and handle is on the same bit, isn't it, of the wheelie bin? So hinge and handle facing the user or facing the wall?
I have a clarification question I must ask.
Go ahead. We've got to get this right.
Are we talking about the bins just prior to collection, or their normal place
when they're in their state of rest.
In their state, right? Okay, so not prior to collection, because often you have to move the bin on collection day to a point where the bin men can.
So yes, it's when they're in place of rest, not for the. She doesn't give a.
It should be
she
the
doesn't
same.
give a flying monkey.
It should be the same. It should be the same.
Yeah. Well, our bins, when the bin people are about to collect them, are sort of more free. They aren't confined by any fences or walls. The wall they are next to is probably only about 2.5 foot high, so it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter. But I will, out of courtesy, always put the handle to where they will come from, so they don't have to spin it round 90 180 degrees. Thank you very much. You could see me struggling. You heard the cogs go.
I knew that GCSE in maths would come useful one day.
That's right. Yeah. So they don't have to spin that round. Do a very difficult job. I give them the handle. I get no thanks for that from anyone, but I do that out of courtesy. But
I think it's brilliant that you are sort of thinking you might be thanked for it.
I'm with your wife on this one.
A little note from the bin man. So thanks for putting the bin with the handle.
I'm with your wife
out.
on this one. I do it the other way around. So
right.
Handle and hinge up against the wall.
But even when it's about to be collected?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, but that
you are brutal.
Yeah, that's uniform with the rest of my neighbours. So there's a designated area for bins, and they're all lined up against the wall with the hinge and handle.
Do you think the bin
like
men,
a row of soldiers on parade?
Exactly.
Do you think the bin men come along and say, "Oh, I hate emptying the bins here," because they always put the handle facing inwards,
twizzle them round?
Yeah, I've never thought about it like that.
So
before.
so when I return the bin to its place of rest by the fence, I reverse it in handle and hinge facing me. So when I then put an item into the bin, it is hinged over towards the user.
Yeah, so that's tricky then, isn't it? If you're trying to recycle.
I think that's easier.
Don't you think the lid gets in the way when you're trying to put something in the bin?
Not if you're small. So I'm small as well. Yeah.
See, I haven't been thinking of the little tiddlers.
It's a height thing, isn't it? It's a height thing.
Yeah, that's what she said. She goes, "I'm only small.
With your wife.
I can't reach it." I said, "What did you say down there?" I said, "I'm only small."
This is interesting. So what we've got here, two diametrically opposed views, because Faye has the handle facing towards her when she leaves it for the bin man.
No.
Away. And can I just say, it's me that always puts the bins out as well.
That's a blue job, though.
What do you mean, blue job?
You have blue jobs and pink jobs in your household.
Oh, I see. Nice.
Right, things going in the attic, blue job. Bins out, blue job.
Oh my goodness! Colour-coded
jobs.
Gender jobs.
We're very gendered in our household. We're not that progressive.
Wow.
What colour's ironing?
My ironing is dreadful. So
I think you're avoiding the question there, aren't you?
I just want to say my ironing is dreadful. But I think I like hoovering. So I like hoovering. That's my thing. I enjoy it. I love it. I bloody love it to bits.
We corrected him last time. It's vacuuming.
Yeah,
I love vacuum. I love henrying. You like
hennying.
Was it
no, it's
hettying. And Faye likes Dysoning.
Yes.
Yeah. But
and
hoovering.
You love the smell of it.
Yeah. Well, he's not sure if he loves the smell.
I don't.
Of it.
Yeah.
You think he might?
I think I've worked it out since the last episode. I have worked it out that one, I like the smell. However, there is somewhere in my brain which, as Faye confirmed last time, it is the smell of dead skin cells, hair from all over your body, and the thought that is what I'm enjoying smelling isn't right.
I think if we had a Hoover, vacuum, Dyson, Henry expert with us, there were strokes in between all those words, they would probably tell us that it's the smell of the motor.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that's probably stronger than all of those smells.
Yeah.
So just because the motor is turning around at hell of a speed, and there's a lot of friction there and generating smells and heat, and I don't know, I might be wrong about that.
This is classic Dollman's conversation. What is creating the smell?
Did anybody watch This Morning this week?
I don't think I've ever watched it.
You've never watched This Morning?
I haven't, but I want to know where this is going.
So something that, potentially on paper sounds like a very interesting subject.
Yes.
But it was the dullest interview ever. Matt Barr and his 12-inch penis. And he was a really nice guy.
Matt Barr was interviewing his 12-inch penis.
No. I think it was Ben Shephard interviewing Matt. Really nice guy, and absolute sort of fair play to him coming on live TV talking about this.
Oh
But
yeah, that must be so difficult.
Oh, this is
I would
it.
hate that. I would absolutely hate being on live television talking about my 12-inch penis.
this is
What a
it.
gripe. Oh, he was forced into it by gunpoint, wasn't he?
This is how
Right.
we expected the interview to go, but it was done so sort of sympathetically. He was saying it's a bit
was
of a
sensitive.
hindrance, and the interview was very, very calm and sensible, and it was just like it just didn't.
There is no pathos in having a 12-inch penis. Like maybe his wife.
I don't know. I think that was the point. I mean, I saw a tiny little clip on Instagram.
You saw a tiny little bit of it.
But I don't think he has a wife. I think he was just saying it's actually
It
quite
gets in the way.
difficult, to hold
Okay.
down a relationship.
Right.
But to demonstrate how big it was, Ben
Yeah.
Shephard got out a measuring tape, and it was yellow, and he measured out 12
Yeah.
inches.
Well,
Like,
it's-
none
well,
of
it's-
us can imagine what
well, it's
12 inches looks like.
It's a ruler, isn't it? It's a complete plastic ruler.
Is it?
Yeah,
How
they're
do you
12
know?
inches.
Oh, you know.
12 inches is a plastic ruler. It's
don't know. How do you- I didn't know that.
He's got
I
30,
didn't know
30,
that.
30 centimetres exactly. I mean, we're still. It's funny, isn't it? We're still talking inches. It's
If you're-
He didn't
if you're
have any
just-
markers on his ruler. So how
he
did
didn't have any
know?
markers on his penis. He hadn't graduated his penis.
Right.
Didn't have, Ben
Now-
Shephard didn't have any. I'm sure it didn't have any markers on his ruler.
But he did that to demonstrate. He didn't.
Yes.
It wasn't like a.
That's
It wasn't
how
like he wasn't fact checking.
No.
Because
No,
these
no,
things
no.
have to be
No.
fact checked.
No, exactly. We're just
even
taking his
now
word
we're
for
talking
it.
about it. I'm still not.
Are you
Convinced.
sceptical?
I'm testicle about it.
You could have gone on the show to show off about your 12-inch penis.
Exactly.
And
But then there
nobody
would
have been
then the wife would be phoning up. So don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
After the bin debacle,
Yeah,
I think
that's
you
right.
wouldn't have a leg to stand on, or
Yeah.
anything else to stand on.
But there's an elephant in the room here, right?
Do
It's 12
elephants
inch-
have to?
No, it's 12 inches in the slack.
No, fully erect. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So it's 12 inches at what point? It starts at
Tumescent.
Tumescent. Is that before or after? Is that in when indulging the lady?
Tumescent
I say lady.
Tumescent is max.
The tumescent is max.
Yeah.
Is it 12 inch max, or is that the starting point?
Intumescent is the opposite.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's a lot of.
I don't know. It's just a clip on Instagram.
Ben Shephard, I thought, was a good broadcaster, but he's not fulfilling his duty
It's
here.
sloppy journalism.
It is sloppy. Like, Paxman wouldn't have let him get away with leaving the room without all the facts of it being flaccid,
Going straight to the
semi-erect,
top.
fully erect,
No, it's-
bonus
but,
erect. Was he circumcised? Was he not circumcised? What girth? What diameter? What colour?
Yeah, I've never seen that Jeremy Paxman interview, but
No, no,
He's
that would be a
retired
good
now.
one with Michael Gove, though, wouldn't it? Or-
I interviewed Jeremy Paxman once, and I read up about his subject, which was incredibly.
please tell me you asked
highbrow.
him how long his penis was.
I didn't. It was incredibly highbrow, and I already felt like this is just going to
Yeah.
be the most patronising. He's going to
And?
patronise me. And he didn't even want to talk about his subject. He was more interested in talking about buying socks from Cavendish House in Cheltenham. And I got him onto that subject, and he
in
just
a
gave
good way?
me such a brilliant interview.
Oh, okay.
And no, it was fun. It
Oh,
was
brill.
fascinating.
Oh, that's really nice to hear.
Yeah, what sort of socks he likes.
I think that
what
sounds
he
like a
looks
very
for.
good subject for the Dullman's podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
invite
socks.
him on.
Socks. I have to wear matching socks. I know a lot of people can get away with not wearing matching
I
socks.
don't care.
But it.
I
oh
don't
my
care
God.
at
If
all.
I found out now that your socks
They
aren't
actually
matching,
matched today. But
thank God
usually,
for that. I would be. I'd have to. I'm actually pulling my sort of t-shirt collar
I
out.
really
just thinking
don't
about
But
it.
Deech, let me give you
A 12-inch penis.
I wasn't going to offer you that, but what I was going to offer you
It's in your
was
backpack.
an ameliorating fact about non-matching socks. Because
Oh.
if you have non-matching socks, it means, if you think about it, that you've got two identical pairs of non-matching socks. Well, virtually identical. Because you've
Are you
got...
following what he's saying?
No, I
here?
don't.
I'm
There
lost
is a
here.
maths equation, isn't there? How many socks do you have to pull out to get a pair?
It's not even as complicated as that. You've got your normal matching socks,
Yeah.
say they're blue, and then you've got another pair of matching socks, which for the sake of argument we'll say are green.
Yeah.
Well, if you mix them up, you've got 2 pairs of blue and green socks. So you've got 2 identical pairs of blue and green socks. So they, in a sense, you're doubling up.
But they're the wrong colour on each foot.
No, because you
They're
have to...
matching, as in they match each other.
Yeah. So
I get it.
So
I get
the
it.
famous gag was, the little boy goes to school with the odd socks on, different socks.
Yeah.
And the teacher says, Johnny, you've got two different socks on. And he says, yeah, it's a funny thing, but I got another pair exactly the same at home.
Yeah, I get...
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do see...
Does that
yeah,
help at all?
When I was in my young 20s, I experimented with not wearing underpants.
Okay.
I did. I gave it a few months to see how it went.
Why?
Going
Yeah.
command. I'll tell
Good
you
question.
why. When I was at an age where I thought it should be like ready for action. This is the problem with the male under 25 brain, right? The male under 25 brain is an idiot who thinks that it's. You think you're a Jack the Lad. You think you're an alpha male. This is the problem. The male brain is still growing up until the age of 25. I don't mean it still has stuff to learn. It is actually physically growing. The front lobe of the brain of the male is still developing up until 25 years of age. And then very shortly after that, it starts deteriorating. There's only a short window of full maturity of about 8 months.
So was there any advantages at all?
No,
wearing pants.
I think there was an episode of Friends where Joey said that
he goes commando.
He goes commando, and I thought,
And that was
well,
it
if
for
it's
you.
good enough for Joey, if it's good enough for Matt LeBlanc, and we all agreed as a household, I lived in a share house, right, from now on, guys, we're going commando, we're ready for action, we're going to be like a full team, like a 5-a-side team of Matt LeBlancs.
So am I understanding you correctly? You felt that by not wearing underpants, you could just get your kegs off more quickly and be ready to have sex.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
It seems like a very desperate move, that, if you don't mind me saying, Deech, because
desperate was my middle name back then.
Because I think, how much time are you actually going to save, assuming you're lucky enough?
As it turns out, 0.
You never got to test
That's
the theory.
right. That's right. All I did is get to my own bed on my own quicker. That's all it did. But it felt weird. That's the thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't
It was
feel right.
unhygienic.
Uncomfortable, I'd have thought.
Very uncomfortable. And I would open the drawers, I would look at my socks, which at that point still all matched, and look at these forlorn boxer shorts looking up
What
at
a
me and
waste
saying,
of money.
why don't you use us anymore, Demitris? Please use us. We did a job. And then after a few months, I said, guys, come on, you're back in the team.
So what was the turning point then? Why did you start wearing?
Was it when you
underpants?
did you touch cloth?
Oh, Dave.
And you thought, I remember what underpants are for now.
Yeah. I think maybe getting changed in a football changing room, and then maybe people looking weird at me. That, you've forgotten to put your underwear on again, mate. No, this is intentional. And then people just stop being friends with me. So.
And also, if you're flying low or something like that, then you're very likely to be completely exposed.
Yes, absolutely.
God.
The whole thing is horrifying.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever done that,
No,
the commando
good.
thing. I don't. It doesn't.
You're a
appeal
very
to me.
sensible
So
man.
your
always been
homework for
terribly
next
sensible.
week, Dave.
No.
I used to do a gig in a nightclub. I was doing stand-up comedy. They used to have comedy there from about 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock. And it was all stag nights and hen nights which used to come to this thing. And in the next room of this comedy club, or the next room of the nightclub, they would have the Dream Boys. So all the stag nights would come and watch the comedy, and all the hens would go and watch the Dream Boys, which is basically like a Chippendales thing. And what we would share a changing room being the men's toilets, basically.
No.
So you had these oily, very muscular, I'm going to be honest, fairly brain dead men putting elastic bands around their penises, slapping their penises into life as if to sort of like, I never got to the point where they never got to the point where they were sort of like giving their penises a motivational speech like, come on Jeff, you can do it tonight, this is your night to shine. It's just me and you tonight.
Is that how it's done then, elastic bands?
Yeah, because I was like, you walk into this and I'm just going in there,
isn't it?
It sounds painful too.
Yeah.
They earn more money than us, so I'll tell you that.
For them.
So they could afford the elastic bands.
Yeah. But
aren't they called? Isn't that process in the world of pornography known as fluffing?
No.
Faye, educate me, please.
Fluffing is somebody else that comes in to help with.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you have to do it yourself.
Yeah,
but you can be a fluffer.
Yes, yeah.
Because I was thinking, that sounds like a fairly unpleasant job. To be a fluffer.
They did it themselves. They didn't fluff each other. And when I went in there, they didn't look at me and go, oh, guys, the fluffers arrived. Brilliant. Come on, jump on, Deech. It wasn't like, what station have you got to? I've just got paper clips. Not going to do it, mate. Not going to do it. We need elastic bands.
I wonder what the fluffer actually does. What are the techniques? Is there a training school?
It's
the College of Fluffers, or the Royal College of
Fluffers. On the job.
Exactly.
The Royal College of Professional Fluffers.
Here is your certificate.
I'd spent 3 years there.
Yeah. A roll. You have your mortarboard on and your gown
and nothing else.
Nothing else. Absolutely nothing else.
You go commando, in fact.
Well,
and definitely no socks.
I think that the fluffer is possibly a female, but I don't suppose it matters, who arouses the male pornography artist to get him ready to sort of jump in and do what he needs to do, so the female actress or receptacle doesn't need to do anything. So it seems if he's just turned up super aroused, because otherwise it's going to put pressure on the female, and it might dent her ego, perhaps, that she is unable to do that. So they've got, and maybe they're budding porn stars.
The same happens at stud stables. You know that at stud
no,
farms.
I don't know
yeah,
this.
They
you can be a horse fluffer.
You can be a horse fluffer, and it's usually a little Shetland stallion. And so he's
serious,
ready, ready for action.
Does he have to have a step ladder?
He's brought in
to
excite the female, and then he's taken away at the last moment, and then the real stallion.
Why a Shetland? Because they're easier to drag out.
Yeah, exactly. And also there is a danger that the mare might damage the stallion, the real stallion. So it's okay that the little Shetland
I feel
is
very
damaged.
sorry for the Shetland.
I know. Well, he never gets his end
He's
away.
probably been dragged out of the stable saying, "You bastard!
Yeah.
Let me stay in there for a bit longer."
He never gets to have sex.
No.
That's mean. That is really mean.
But does this go sort of down? Is there like a pyramid? Is there another fluffer for the Shetland?
No.
To sort of be donkey or something?
Is there such a thing as an inflatable horse? An inflatable mare?
There's a pantomime horse, and I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be on the back end of that at Faye's farm.
Or always go on the front of the pantomime horse.
Yeah.
You can see where you're going, and you don't get a Shetland up the arse either.
Wow, that is without that, that's the best fact of the day.
You've
won. So you've won today's episode, Faye.
Thank you very
much. Hands down to you.
You probably should have told the audience that there was a competition, though.
just
announcing the winner.
I didn't even know.
But I think you're right, though. I agree. That is the fact of the day, isn't it? The dull fact of the day that stud farms have horse fluffers.
Yep.
And you're 100% certain on this?
100%, yeah. I've seen one with my own eyes.
Was this a feature you did on
BBC
local radio?
I may have been visiting.
Did you do a selfie with the Shetland?
No, but I happen to know that Faye did a feature on dogging once, which might be related.
It wasn't related, but I did.
Actual dogging, the sexual dogging.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you take a serious slant on it?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely, because local residents were really upset that dogging was happening just,
and you used the phrase dogging. Well, there isn't a professional phrase for it, is there?
Well,
outdoor sex.
Yeah.
Voyeurism.
Yeah, I don't think we use dogging on the BBC, actually.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
You're not allowed to say it?
No.
But then aren't you then in danger of
Actually,
advertising the site of where it happens?
Well,
You know-
yeah,
and
that
then
is-
suddenly all your listeners then think, so that's where it's done. I want to be part of the scene.
yeah, just selling tickets.
So all you then did, Faye, was exacerbate the situation for the local.
I
resident.
know. I'm holding my
Did you
hands up.
identify the site? Or
Yes.
you did? Oh,
yeah,
right,
and it's a
okay.
well-known site in Gloucestershire.
Oh, we all
so,
know where.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey. Yeah. Loads of
Yeah,
builders
it's in
there
your
right
sat
now.
nav, isn't
Could you
it?
write it down on this envelope, please?
It's in my sat nav.
Take
It is.
me there.
Yeah, it's in my faves.
But I love the idea of people writing into the BBC saying, dear Faye, could you tell me where you recorded that episode, please?
Yeah.
just a keen bird spotter.
Yeah, what's the 3-word code for that? A friend of mine used to go jogging early in the morning, and he used to go through, I think it was like a quarry car park. There were loads of cars there, and he realised that they were dogging, and he was like, this is disgusting, this is outrageous. So he was like, I've had enough of this. So as he would go dogging, as he would go jogging, he would like bang on the window. But he said that just used to encourage them.
Oh, no.
and they'd sort of like put on a bit of a performance. He's like, no, I'm not interested. And so they thought it was like a bit of a role play or something.
Was this
But-
in the morning?
Yeah,
Early
yeah,
in the
yeah.
morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he
Before work?
Yeah. A very
Yeah.
a very early jog, and then
That's very strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't imagine the scenario, where you think, 6 o'clock, time to go down to the dogging park or wherever.
burger van's up, so we can have a bit of a snack beforehand, get a bit of an appetite going, build up a bit of strength. I'm good to go.
Very odd. So do you think it's a coincidence that jogging and dogging rhyme? I mean, is that is there something we should be told?
Didn't think of that. The history of the word dogging.
It's an odd word,
It has
isn't it?
to have come from somewhere.
Perhaps the early practitioners were also dog walkers. Who knows? I've got a question for you, both.
Go on.
On men's dress shirts, and by dress shirts I mean shirts for dressing up, going to a posh place,
Yes.
where you might choose to wear cufflinks rather than
Yeah.
doing a button on the sleeve.
Yeah, I've done that.
And I occasionally wear such shirts for concerts and things like that. And the thing that always puzzles me about these shirts is that they have 2 cufflink holes. Not just one, they have 2.
Okay.
And obviously you don't wear 2 pairs of cufflinks on each sleeve.
Uh-huh.
You only wear 1 cufflink on each sleeve. So why are there 2 holes?
My guess would be for a tighter cuff.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that because
Oh.
the holes are not. They're sort of vertical down the sleeve. If you
That,
see what I mean.
that would have been my guess as
Yeah.
well, but it has nothing to do with
No.
the girth of
Like,
your wrist.
You're either using the hole that is closer to your fingers or further or closer to your elbow, if you see what I mean. But
Right.
they're in the same place on the cuff.
Just doesn't make sense.
So exactly. And I've been wondering this ever since.
No, hold on. Would it not alter the length of the sleeve though?
Well, it would alter the place.
with a what do they call them? The cufflink shirt that doubles back, doesn't it? It goes down and then it turns back in
you're right.
on itself.
Yeah.
So you could re-iron the length of the cuff. If you are a gentleman with short arms and you don't want that to be announced to the world by just having your fingertips pointing out of a white shirt, you could deceive the world by folding back on the...
Yeah, that's an interesting point because obviously if you can imagine this scenario where you fold back the cuff, obviously there are 4 holes altogether.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the 2 holes on the outer
Yeah.
cuff and 2 holes below.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it, yes, you're right, you could do that,
Yeah.
but then the holes wouldn't,
They wouldn't align.
They wouldn't
Oh,
align.
yes.
So it would be all cack-handed.
Yeah, that explanation just doesn't. I mean, you might be right, but it doesn't.
It could be the reason, but badly thought through in design on every single shirt ever made.
Exactly, and they've
Too
probably
committed
been,
now. You
Yeah,
can't turn
yeah.
back.
You never had that with Bond. It's
they've-
sort of like a cack-handed rubbish kind of.
Well, that's the other thing. It takes a while to get the bloody things in.
yeah.
Just don't see the point of having cufflinks and dress shirts anyway. Why can't you just have normal buttons?
Well-
what's the point of having...
Well, the whole thing
Cuffs
thing
with
about wearing black tie.
cufflinks.
I mean, there are different levels of black tie as well.
Oh.
And you see that in orchestras.
Oh, there's a hierarchy.
Well, there effectively is, because if you sit near the back where I do, people,
Naughty boys.
you sounded very disappointed there when you said no. So the horn section sits towards the back of the orchestra. It's just a fact. And so people can't see you that close up. So you can get away with a fairly ordinary white shirt and a clip-on bow tie and the jacket, and that's fine. You could even wear non-matching trousers. So going up the level, up the scale of dress jackets, you have things like the dress shirt becomes a very frilly affair. So you can imagine the front of the shirt where the buttons do up.
Yeah.
It's very frilly.
Okay.
And
sort of like Liberace.
Yes, maybe a little toned
dressed
down
down.
from Liberace, but it's mostly hidden
Liberace
by
on
the
a
jacket.
Tuesday afternoon.
Tom Jones, I think.
And sometimes, rather than frilly, you can just have sort of ironed creases down the front.
Yeah.
And anyway, and that's right. And then you can go further. And you can go for the cummerbund.
Yes.
And the cummerbund, for those of you who don't know, is sort of like a ridiculous belt that goes round the middle and hides your beer stomach. Yes, your pot belly.
It's been a while since I've worn a cummerbund, but whenever I wear a cummerbund, I feel bloody amazing.
Do you?
Yeah.
I've never worn one.
I have worn one.
What is it? Why does it make you feel different?
I don't know. It just makes you feel grand. It feel like, I'm look at me, I'm wearing a cummerbund. It's keeping my midriff in. I feel good. I've got my dress blazer on. I've got my black trousers on, which have a shiny stripe going down the side.
I wonder why it's called a cummerbund. Cummerbund, I think it is, isn't it? We'll have to check that.
Wasn't he in Sherlock Holmes? Well, look, I think that's all we got time for today, sadly. So I think we've got to leave it there. But we are coming back. We're going to have another episode launching very soon. So anyway, please join us again on the Dull Man's podcast, the podcast for dull men and women who get excited about dull things. And if you get a chance to leave us a 5-star review or to tell all your friends about us, that would be very, 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 very much appreciated. I've been Demitris Deech.
I've been Faye Hatcher. Bye.
And I've been Dave Harries. See you next time.